You're listening to Conversations with Loulou, and my guest today is Eli Habib. Eli is a serial tech entrepreneur, having co-founded several companies from way back in his university days. And in 2011, he co-founded Anghami, which is the region's largest music streaming service, valued at over $100 million. So I've asked around about you a little bit. I've spoken to some people on your team, and I said, what is Eli like as a leader? And there's a couple of things that came out. Someone said, I don't know if he sleeps. Do you sleep? I heard genius. And no. I know you throw really wild parties, apparently.
Yeah, we do.
And you're a great cook.
Oof.
So
I think I learn most of the things when I'm actually, not exactly working, quote unquote. So every day in the morning, I like to read. And at night, I like to, if possible, not daily, but, I like to cook because it enables me to do something else and to, at the same time, figure out, the whole thing about creation process is something that I enjoy. Whether I'm creating a product, whether I'm creating a sub-product, whether I'm creating a feature or launching a plan somewhere or, cooking something, it's exactly the same passion and the same, trying to figure out what are the ingredients you want to use. Sometimes it's just opening the pantry and figuring out what do I have, and based on this, trying to cook up something. It's exactly what made us good in Anghami. We never had a lot of anything. We had a very small pantry since the beginning in Anghami, and we realized that that's what's going to allow us to focus on profitability. If you had a lot, we would probably be struggling because, we had a lot and it would be hard. It would be easy to spend a lot. We never spent a lot. We always realized that, we have a restricted, quote unquote, pantry. And same thing with the cooking for me. It's figuring out what am I going to do something that is nice without me having to go out and buy stuff right now. That's what's the beauty of working in a business like Anghami. People think that we're doing music and it's a music app, so we're targeting consumers, and it's not supposed to be that complicated. And right now we're at 117 people, and we're probably the smallest team in the music streaming services worldwide, comparatively to the market that we serve, obviously. We're not going to compare to Spotify. I think they have 4,200 employees, but our product versus Spotify is definitely not, they're not 40 times better or whatever.
So it was something you had in mind from the beginning. You were very conscious about being a profitable business.
That's not my first business. Anghami is my fifth. And
your fifth?
Yes. That's my first VC-funded business, right? But when I started, in 2010, started thinking about Anghami, 2011 launched it, we realized that we needed money. At the time we launched with 1 million, which is now a seed for an app that's doing, forms app, whatever, something basic would launch with more than 1 million today. So we wanted to launch Anghami, and we looked at the VC, and I started, cold emailing people on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I still have the replies. Most of them were like, why are you doing this? Do something else. There's Apple in music.
So Apple was that was the response, that there is Apple?
Most of them at the time, I'm saying in 2011.
We have Apple a massive market here, though. And you were the first.
We started Anghami before Apple came to the Middle East on iTunes. Okay, Apple came 2014, if memory serves. We started in 2011, end of 2011. So we just have roughly a year and a half or roughly 2 years before Apple launched. But again, people were not who's going to pay for music in the Middle East? Everybody pirates stuff. So I looked up, we cold mail mostly in LinkedIn, but eventually we got to VCs. When we launched with $1 million. We had deals with Rotana, Universal, Sony, Warner. We had an app for iOS, an app for Android, and all of that, we had even some money left with $1 million. So that's how, I mean, it makes sense for me because at the beginning, we're making a business. A business is supposed to generate profits. And ideally, you should have millions of funders for your business, not one VC, two VC, but it should be millions.
Why?
Those are called customers.
Okay.
Your customers fund your business. That's the basic stuff.
So tell me something about the early days. I read somewhere that that when you started basically monetizing the service, a bunch of people, when you launched and people started downloading music, and I think there was a cap on how much they can download, and then they like unsubscribe.
Yeah, the story.
I thought it was. Can you share some stories?
I'll share two. One of them relevant to you, to the story I just said right now, which is when we launched. People thought that, okay, they would subscribe. And they were like, subscribe for a month, download within that month like 1,000, 2,000 songs. Then, okay, we have 2,000 songs on Anghami. It works offline and everything is fine. And this is the library that we need. And then the second month, they unsubscribe and then go, it's like, use the app. The app cannot work anymore on offline. And then they were like, you're a scam. You're, I mean, robbers, whatever. And they were going to sue you and stuff like that. And, you know, all of that and a lot more goes to something that we call educating. For us, when we launched, we thought, you know, it's going to be big immediately. It was big because our business plan indicated we're going to have like 300,000 users the first year. We ended up having 1 million the first 3 months. So obviously it was bigger than what we expected. But at the same time, people wanted to pay was not as big as we expected at the beginning because people are not educated. For them in 2011, music is for free. I mean, why would I have to pay for music? Was most of the answers. And then, you know, it took us a while to educate people. When iTunes launched and they were paying $1 for a song, and then realized they could pay with 5 songs, get unlimited amount of streaming on Anghami, it helped us. When Netflix launched 2016, probably in the Middle East or something like that, we actually benefited. Why? Exactly. Education. Again, people were actually paying to watch Netflix and you know, that concept of, you know, streaming whereby you pay to access became more, you know, common for others. So all of that education. So when other streaming services came to the region, it validated what we were doing. And what the region wants is, you know, when people say localization, what does localization mean? Most of the people think that, okay, I'm gonna do right to left, write in Arabic, and you know, my app is local. I mean, that's not local. Local is actually understanding the mindset of the users in the region. So another thing that when we launched, you were asking for me the story is like, I remember it was March 2012. I had made, from my previous business, I was pretty in tune with SMS notifications. We had built a system in my previous business. So I had made in March when we launched Anghami, the premium paying service, I made a system whenever I get a new subscriber, I get an SMS. It was cool, right? It invigorated the people. It was so cool for the day that we launched. At that night, I went to the movies. It was like many months since I haven't taken the night off or whatever. We're really working hard. So I went to the movies. I don't remember the movie I was watching. So it was like looking at my phone. My phone was ringing way more than usual. Okay. At the end of the movie, I had over 100 unread messages. And like I walked out of the movie. I said, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, right? Because I was getting so many subscriptions during that. I mean, over 100 within the 2 hours. And I'm saying 2011, Anghami was very small at the time. And then we realized the next day that a lot were actually benefiting from a hack available on iPhone. So they were hacking the subscription. And, being able to redeem, I mean, the app would think that this guy paid, whereby he's actually doing a hack, in iTunes hack at the time. It was called Zepto Labs hack. So it took us a day to understand that 90% of those sales were fake.
Wow.
Or 80%. I don't remember the number, but it was high. So obviously we started doing conversion, as I said, in March 2012, but that's not exactly when we started doing conversion. That was when we introduced the payment method, March 2012. When we started doing really conversion is in 2017. It took us a while. One, it was wrong. We should not have waited that much. Two, because we thought that, let's get a bigger base and then convert it. That's wrong. In hindsight, it's wrong. It should have started before. But for us, we were not able to focus on everything at the same point in time because we were building something, honestly, very complicated that spans so many devices. To build all of that and everything, build it in-house. For me, this is core. I'm not going to outsource any core. We've only outsourced the Windows Phone app and the Nokia app in 2012. That was my last outsource. Since 2012, we never outsourced anything. And we've been slowly moving stuff that we pay for as a SaaS into Anghami. Because profitability. So for instance, if I'm actually trying a service and I like the service and it's useful, then, after a year or two, whatever, when we get time, we actually write the same service to us. Adapt to us and, move it internally. And that will allow me to save. And that will create a lot of challenge for my team. And my team start having small baby projects that, they adopt and that they enjoy. Leadership means that I don't only have, my customers, my artists, my brands, my telcos, but I have my team at heart. So my team thinks about the rest. I have to think additionally about the team. So sometimes I say, okay, we'll give the team something that they want. They want to build something new. And that is joy for them. It's a joy for engineers to have a challenge to build something.
Okay. So, you said a lot of interesting things. I'm going to branch out a bit. So you said 2 million, around 2 million, close to 2 million users are basically subscribers.
Paying
subscribers.
There's no media service or a subscription service that has as many paid subscribers as us in the Middle East.
In the region, yeah.
Yeah. Whether...
You're broader than Middle East, right? You talk, are you MENA or...
Our core is Middle East, North Africa. That's our core. We obviously have 15% of our paid subscribers that come from abroad.
Okay.
But again, our focus is the Middle East and North Africa. Why? Because we understand our users and we localized our business differently. So, for instance, I'm going back to localization, but this is what you asked. Most of our subscribers pay us via telcos. As far as I know, Netflix has zero payment opportunities with telcos right now in the Middle East. So for us, understanding our user base means being where the users are and how they can pay. We offer 36 telco payment methods today. And again, we offer not just a monthly payment method like others do, but we don't look at others, honestly. We look at how people pay. For people, they're used to pay micro, right? So, and small numbers. So in Egypt, for instance, you can subscribe to Anghami by the day. The day you use Anghami, you pay. The day you don't use, you don't pay.
Okay.
You can subscribe to Anghami by week in Saudi.
To have a special day to take your girlfriend, you subscribe for a day, you can still use it.
The point is you don't have as much data capabilities in certain places. So basically, you don't have unlimited data to use, and you don't have one of the reasons that for instance, the number of hours, I mean, one of the metrics that we regularly look at is how many hours in a day people listen to music.
Yeah.
That number has been significantly higher in Europe and the US than in the Middle East for all services, right? It's been growing for us, thankfully, but still it falls short to what someone in the UK listens per day.
Okay.
Why? It's
Why?
kind of very obvious. Commuting. I mean, people walk to work or with their headphones on. They go to using the tube, the transport in common, to from their work or their offices or their school or whatever. In our case, that's in most of the Middle East, that's not the case.
Really? If you're stuck in Beirut traffic or Cairo traffic.
But you're stuck in your car most of the time.
So
okay,
you're
not
to the radio.
Exactly. So you listen to the radio. Exactly. So for us, the consumption of Anghami in the car grows more and more, which is great. But again, commuting is what would scale that more. And when this happens, yes, this will drive to the next step. So yes, the market is big and is still very much unpenetrated, as you originally said. I agree, but we need way more time and we need a different approach to do it. So the way we grew, it took us a while to get to those payment methods that I mentioned. 2019 was the first year whereby we scaled this pretty well, and it was a massive year for us. Again, referring to the question about competition, 2019 was a year whereby we had the first real competition in the Middle East, with Spotify launching late 2018, Deezer, and eventually YouTube Music launching in 2019. And it was the biggest year for Anghami in terms of users, paying subscribers, revenue, profits.
And you get PR anytime they have something, right? Because you're in the they're in the news and they're gonna talk about the local app as well.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just that. It's also, again, it's education that we've built over time. Even if your dad owns a McDonald's and the Burger King opens next to you for the first time, you're gonna walk in and you want to try McDonald's, Burger King. It's human, and we're open to that. I mean, we're clearly not going to tell people don't use any other apps. And we think anyone who've been using Anghami for a while and go to check Deezer would come back running to Anghami, and that's what validated, and that's why we got the biggest cheer in Anghami. I mean, we clearly, I'm not saying that everybody came back to Anghami, but by the biggest percentages, they came back and they subscribed. I mean, one, for us, competition is piracy by far. So when you say that there's a lot of opportunities, yes, most of the people still listen to music by either radio or piracy. I include the YouTube free as a piracy. I mean, I would still say it's piracy because of the law of YouTube. I mean, lack of law on YouTube. Anybody can upload anything to YouTube. So a lot of people sometimes say that this song you don't have that song, it's available on YouTube. Yeah. It's like because somebody uploaded it on YouTube and it's just fine. That does not mean that it's legally licensed. Yeah. But then again, we cannot compete with this. Ideally, for me, I'm not looking at who's using Spotify and capturing those people or Deezer or whatever. It still is nothing. There's very small numbers that Spotify have or Deezer has in the region. But for me, it's who's still not using a streaming service, who's still on piracy, and trying to get the message out so people try us. And we've been using it. We've been creating our app differently. We're not like others. I mean, if you use Anghami for 5 minutes and then you use others, you either prefer Anghami or prefer others, but you can't say that we're exactly the same. We've been saying for a while that, music streaming services are alike. They're exactly alike, they look alike. And we think there's a lot of opportunity to be different. But my competition is not, again, those music services. If I had to choose, My competition is user attention. So basically, will user open Anghami, or he would go
watch a movie,
watch Netflix, or play on Fortnite, or go on Instagram, right? The competition is any other app on the phone, because the user eventually at one point in time downloads like 100 apps, then eventually end up using 10, 15 apps. Most of them are on his home screen. My competition is the other apps on the home screen.
You know, when I was looking at it, and I know some entrepreneurs basically from the region, and then I can see like what they're listening to, and I was thinking, wow, like he's listening to this, you know. I thought it was interesting. It's a very cool feature, by the way.
Yeah, and there is a feature whereby if you access his profile, you see how much match between you and him are on music side,
all right? Okay.
So that enables people to connect. You know, we have a lot of people chatting, meeting each other on Anghami. That we don't have a marriage story. Maybe there is, but we don't know about it. But we have a lot of people that started dating out of Anghami and met each other.
So they like the same music. And,
yes, and they started looking at what they're listening. Others are listening. They are chatting, and we have also the inverse: people who break up and then start stalking their previous boyfriend to see if he's listening to heartbreak songs or he's happy or stuff. And there's a lot of stalking people on Anghami becomes something that people do.
Is that an issue though?
No, it's not. I mean, you can put your.
Can you like block someone, or
you can block? You can put your profile as private, not get anybody see it, or let only your friends see it. It's like Instagram. I mean, you're not obliged to have a public profile. It's up to you. But in the same thing, people right now look at what people do on Facebook and Instagram and wherever. On Anghami, they do the same thing, but it's more personal, because based on the mood that you're listening to, you can conclude whether this guy,
is hurting.
Yes. So I can actually, we can literally.
But he might use it to play great songs, just to spite her, or
maybe
the other way around.
If he knows. But the point is, we can detect, we're very connected to the mood of the people. So we can detect when people break up simply because of the shift of listening music.
Wow.
Right? I mean,
do they listen to more Arabic music on Anghami, or more English?
There's no global rule, right? It depends on, what's nice is that a lot listen to to the two, right? We got a good percentage of users listen to English songs a lot of the time, Arabic songs sometimes, so it's mixed. In certain countries, let's say in Saudi, they listen to more Arabic than international. In Dubai, UAE, they listen to more international than Arabic for obvious reasons. You have way more foreigners than Arabs over here. So it's very mixed. It's not one size fits all. And you can go into the top by country on Anghami, and you see it's kind of different. You'll see, like Mahraganat in Egypt, very different type of music. And you see in UAE, like very few Arab music get played in certain places in certain times. It's very diverse, but that's the beauty. We call it Middle East, but it's actually 23 countries, right? And they're not the same. Morocco, if you look at the top songs in Morocco, and then you look at the top songs of Algeria, you feel they're not the same, but they're neighbors. They're close, right?
So is social a big thing?
Social is retention for us.
Okay.
Yes, social is a big thing.
So they spend more time because of these features, and they're chatting.
Yes, and trust me, if someone uses those features and go to Deezer, it's gonna find it boring as hell.
Okay.
And we've validated this many times over.
There's a lot of things I want to ask you. Just obviously as an entrepreneur, there was you had a big deal with Rotana for a long time, and then you lost that deal. How did you? I mean, are there any learnings basically from what happened?
Yeah. So basically, for us, it was. I'm not saying it was very easy, but we knew about it way before it went in public, right? So Rotana was a big marketing stunt for us, because we needed to be on the map, and having an exclusivity in 2011 and then again renewed in 2014 was very good for us on PR level. So we knew how to play it on the PR angle at the time, and we obviously needed it. I'm not saying we did not need it, and not saying it wasn't helpful for us, but the PR of having something exclusive was more important than the actual price of the exclusivity in 2000 on the renewal in 2014. When the last renewal started, the Rotana was asking for massive numbers that were...
So it was a big increment from what you had.
It was a huge increment.
Okay.
It was a tremendously huge increment. I don't know. I can't find the English word to describe it. We were willing to meet them halfway, which is still way too much. I mean, we debated whether we were willing to pay actually that huge number to Rotana, which would be several times over what we've ever paid all labels ever. Again, the deal that happened with Deezer, with Rotana, with Walid bin Talal, was a smart deal for Walid bin Talal, not a smart deal for Deezer, obviously. It's a very smart deal for Walid bin Talal because Walid bin Talal is getting back $100 million over 10 years from Deezer. I can definitely say that we've had the biggest year ever in Anghami last year, and we did the 70% increase in revenues from the year before.
Wow.
2018, we lost Rotana. 2018, September, Deezer started, or October, and Spotify, roughly a couple of weeks later, started. YouTube came in June, July in this 2019, and we did the biggest revenue growth ever. That means probably Rotana or Deezer or wherever did not affect us as much, right? We do a lot of mistakes. We did not do a mistake by not renewing Rotana, and I'm very proud that I did not pay that obscene amount to Rotana.
So you found the word.
Yeah, obscene was a good one.
We spoke a lot about the users and the benefits to the users. What do you think you've done for the artists in the region? Has it, are we a region that creates artists, that produces a lot of artists, or are we a consumer type region like in, a lot of other aspects? Do you think the launch of Anghami has changed anything? I mean, can artists monetize more now that there is Anghami? What kind of impact do you think you've had on the artists?
Yeah, we study this stuff. I mean, it's a great question. We study this stuff, and we're proud with some stuff that we did. I mean, we wanted to do more, and others that we could not do. I'll go in the details and some details. One, yes, there are artists that would have not made it without us. Example, Nassif Zaytoun, he's a Syrian artist that's based in Lebanon. I mean, he has more followers on Anghami than on social media originally, and we massively supported him. And I think Anghami was clearly very important for him. There are many others beside him that we actually helped launch in the region, and they had a mouthpiece to launch and to reach users, and Anghami introduced that. And over the past couple of years, we've been doing originals, trying to push artists and trying to help different type of artists launch on Anghami. And we've created a system whereby we allow them to promote their songs on Anghami to reach to reach a user base that might like their song based on our machine learning systems. And we've managed to push a lot of artists, and we've produced multiple originals, by I think like 50 songs roughly right now. We're continuously helping in creating and helping new artists to launch, or old artists, or I mean not old, but different type of artists to launch. So we found in brands a good opportunity. So right now we've launched, I think, over 10 songs in the past few months for brands.
What does that mean?
I mean, brands we've created songs in association with brands. So basically, the brands are actually helping the production of those songs.
So they pay for the production.
Exactly. So for instance, Miras, we've done something with Miras in Dubai, whereby a Khaliji artist sang in English in a cover of Billie Eilish song, another song, Khalifa Nasser. So we're creating multiple songs like that. In Egypt also we've done it. So we're trying to figure out, because creating a song costs money.
Of course.
And the point is like we want creation. Eventually, maybe with creation comes a small period whereby the song is available only on Anghami, but eventually we want that artist to grow, right? To grow wherever. If he grows out of Anghami, he's going to eventually, acknowledge Anghami, and he's going to come back to Anghami.
Netflix, Apple TV Plus, Amazon, they're all have massive budgets for creation, for content creation. I mean, this should be something, right, for you?
Yeah, and we're looking into that. I mean, we obviously, as I said, we've created a lot of content, but music and
what about podcasts, things like that?
Music services and video services are different, right? And in Netflix, you'll find some content, some video content. In Amazon, some video content. In Apple TV, some video content. It's not it's not a supermarket whereby you find everything, right? In music, people expect to get everything. So when you have that particular differentiation, you get to a point whereby you're working with labels and you're competing with them at the same time.
So you don't think basically the behavior would be for music apps the same as the TV apps, whereby you might have multiple subscriptions, to be able to watch different movies and
eventually,
and so
eventually, on. Even, in the US, people don't necessarily have multiple subscriptions. The people who watch a lot Netflix and Disney and whatever, those movies are their the teens and the early 20s. They have a lot of time on their hands, and those are generally who commit to watch series. Those don't necessarily will not get multiple subscriptions. People who are older, like 30s, 40s and up, they would subscribe to more because for them it's fine. I mean, they can afford it. They can afford to have more than one. And whenever they want to watch something, they want to have the option available. So with time, it will get to us, but it's not there yet.
Would you do film?
We've done an experiment where we launched Game of Thrones. And it was a massive experiment that we did. It's a great story because why did you do that, by the way? Like, what was the rationale behind it? Very clear rationale for us. If you just imagine you walking in a mall every day, but you're only allowed to spend a certain amount, a fixed amount in the mall per month.
Of money or of time?
Yeah, of money.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? If you go to Dubai Mall, and they tell you spend already $10 this month, you can't spend anymore? No.
Okay.
Okay, that's the same thing. Why exactly would a streaming service or any service or any app be at a point whereby, I got $5 from you this month, thank you, I can't offer you anything more.
All right.
The system is wrong. The music streaming system just does not make sense.
So if you look at an app,
Fortnite, I don't know, some people spend thousands of dollars on Fortnite, some people don't spend anything, some people spend $10 a month. Depends. In music streaming services, it's like either zero or, I don't know, $5 or 7.5 for a family plan, right? For me, a business that has a fixed maximum ARPU is a stupid business. And that's what I want to change. And for me, this was an experiment in 2019. Can I get people to spend more? If a person was paying for Anghami for $5 and I give him Game of Thrones and
how much was it? $5?
No, it was $2.
$2.
It wasn't for the money. It wasn't for the amount of money. It was for the concept.
So did people subscribe, watch it, and then unsubscribe? What was the behavior?
Yeah, no, we still have people subscribe because we have other stuff.
Was it like a awareness exercise, or was it a share of wallet exercise?
No, it was a test. The idea was, is a music streaming service a fixed ARPU business? Can I increase my ARPU or not? We saw people who are free users converting. We saw people who are paid premium plus users for music converting. And, we saw new users coming to convert. So it was a massive exercise. And the beauty of it was probably the first time I talked publicly about it. We agreed with OSN on a Monday afternoon to do this. The launch of Game of Thrones was Sunday morning, okay, in GCC
so you had
time.
6 days.
Yeah, less than that. So we actually changed the app, introduced those functionalities for video and the second subscription, and launched it within the week, and launched it on iOS and Android on web within the week. The next week, we launched it on Samsung and LG. And really, we did all of that in 2 weeks. We added functionality to continue playing, skip intro, translations, all of that within the week.
Wow.
That was massive. It was one of the best weeks of Anghami. I was really the most proud person in the team. I was proud of my team. What were they doing? And, I proved that we can launch a small, obviously it's not a Netflix, but it was small, but it was decent enough. And it was a proof of concept. A proof of concept that we did with probably the biggest series in the world this year. Clearly, if we had planned it before, we'd have made way better. By the way, we did not do any marketing. We did not spend $1 on Facebook ads or Twitter or whatever, any kind of ads. Zero marketing. We wanted clearly just to say
so
that...
you promoted it within the app, basically.
We promoted it within the app.
That's how the news
Because
came out.
the whole idea is... And we did a social, just mentioned it on social, but no promotion, no payment, no money spent on anything other than, building it. But the point is, for us, it was a proof that we can grow the ARPU.
So it's something you want to, it was a test, it was a proof of concept, it's something that you think you might look into.
I honestly believe that Dubai Mall should not fix you at $10 per month.
When you and I had a long chat in 2017, I remember how open you were and how transparent, and you're very logical and analytical, and you're not kind of worried to share information. And it seems that this is how you are as a leader as well. I heard that you like to challenge people, and you like it when people challenge you. I heard it that you always have a coaching kind of mentorship role versus I'm the boss, you do as I say type role. How important has that been, in growing Anghami?
So basically, one thing, Prelude is I've never been employed. I've always built businesses. So since I was at my first year at university, I already had a business. I was already shipping software to a company since I was 18.
You're a computer science.
Yes, I computer science, then computer engineering. I unfortunately did the masters. I mean, it's a waste of time. But then, so the point is, I always learned by my own. I've learned more from books than from other people. So, and I actually did a lot of mistakes at the beginning from on my own role. I mean, I could have learned with someone else, but I did not.
Interesting.
So I think most of that created the leadership things that I learned from scouts, because I was a scout. So I learned a lot from there. One of the very important things that I've learned was you walk at the front, that you don't leave your team. So in the office, I don't have a room where I sit on my own and I sit with my team. I want my team to ask me questions, and being with them will be normal for them to ask me questions. I want to support them, to listen to what they say when they don't want to say it, right? Because they discussing stuff, to understand whether, the pulse of my team, how they're doing, so I can do better with them. Because I keep on learning from them, and I keep on, you have analytics for your users, you see where they're coming or wherever, and what's your analytics for your team? One of them is listening to them and being with them. All our talent have started with us. Anghami was their first mobile app, let's say, for 100% of them. But for 99% of them, it was their first job. We've grown talents out of universities. We've grown talent by mentoring them, by spending time to teach them the ropes and by pushing them to do good stuff after the other. And my team, technically speaking, I absolutely have no ego on myself, but I think they're one of the best teams in the region relatively to their scale, obviously, because every engineer does a lot. In terms of leadership, I think I try to answer the why. I've learned a lot of leadership from Scouts days, and I learned even more from my kids. You can't just shout on a kid, tell him do this, and then he will do it. And you can't walk on an engineer and tell him, I'm your boss, do this. I mean, it just does not make sense. If you do it, that should be the last thing you do. I mean, if you do it, then you should probably go home, right? Take a break that day because you're probably failing. We want them to feel that their work is a mission and they're participating in a mission of Anghami. And if we succeed, it's part of them. Attrition is not high. And people who've left Anghami mostly have left it because they wanted to travel out of Lebanon to take different challenges after many years. I've had people, leaving Anghami to go to Facebook, Google, Apple, Snapchat, Amazon, LinkedIn, Palantir. I mean, I have not had people leaving Anghami to go to small companies or wherever. For me, I still want people leaving Anghami to build their own businesses, and I hope I'll be actually their first seed investors. We've created a certain, we're a team. We're not a family. Family means that they come like that. You can't pick your family. You pick your team. We picked our team, and we love the team. I respect the team, and I have the least ego because I think they are the cause of the success. I just steer the ship. I help everybody, but they are the doers.
One of your team members told me, I wish we had leaders in Lebanon like Eli, so that Lebanon can be run like Eli runs Anghami. That's a big thing, man.
That's a big thing. My team loves me, it seems. I know I love them, but the experience that I've done in Anghami, I always want to give back. So basically, by giving back, mean explaining how. I'm sad when I'm invited to a lot of conferences sometimes, and I actually miss a lot intentionally because I see that they're the same. When someone goes and say, yeah, I raised hundreds of millions and I built this and built that, all is great, I'm kicking ass. That is not, I'm not watching a movie over here. What did I gain out of those topics? Nothing. I want to be part of discussions where we say, this is how we do things. This is how we scale. This is how we push our people. This is how we actually manage to launch products. This is what we look at. This is the analytics. This is our, balance sheet understanding that you need to spend less than what you make. Otherwise, you're going to go bankrupt at the country. And so the point is, this is whereby I feel that I want to be part of the education experience. Same thing how we educated people about Anghami, and we were educated about what not to do and what to do, whatever. We need that really interaction whereby we can talk. Like Giraz, the podcast, I don't know if you listen to it, where he say he interviews people on how you did it. Yeah, and this is exactly what we need to do. How did we do it? How did you scale that way? What worked? What didn't work? And we're supposed to be transparent. I mean, if I tell you what I did, would I lose anything? I'm going to gain at the end, because if you do it, if you succeed, you're going to help me if I'm in need of help, and you're going to help the economy. So we're supposed to do that way. The problem is, in a lot of cases right now in the Middle East as a whole, we're a closed society. We don't want to talk about failures.
I agree.
And I think unless we snap out of it and start sharing experiences, when I go to Silicon Valley, more people share experiences with me than when I'm in Beirut or Dubai or Cairo. It does not make sense.
Yeah, 100%. I was shocked actually when I went to Silicon Valley and I saw how people comfortably share numbers and share details.
Oh, I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, we share.
And this is part of the learning, right? I mean,
yeah, but we're still at a phase where
it's not a zero-sum game.
Yes, we're still at a phase whereby we think we're not supposed to share. If I say this idea, somebody's going to do it before me, and never about the idea. I'll tell you the idea, I'll tell you how I did it, and go do it different, do it better, whatever. And eventually I'm going to benefit if you do it, and I see you do it differently, I'm going to benefit from it. We have to be open, we have to be transparent. That's what I've been doing in Anghami as a company. I don't have time to engage in this stuff, but maybe one day I will. But I promise that anybody who reach out to me on my email, I'll try to reply. I reply to a lot, I met a lot. Sometimes I don't reply because I forget, and then someone doesn't remind me. And there's a saying in Arabic.
You're open to help.
There's a saying in Arabic إذا بتستحي ما بتجيب أولاد. It's the same thing. You're supposed to, if you need something from someone, bang 1, 2, 3 times. It's okay. Forget your ego.
I think
if you're building a business,
an issue.
Sorry?
Ego is an issue.
Ego.
I called him and he didn't answer and blah, blah, blah.
It's fine. Ego, when you're building a business, you leave your ego back home at your parents' place and you go build a business without ego. You're going to screw up multiple times and you're going to have to say that I did wrong. And you're going to have to tell your team you did wrong. You're not supposed to write on your LinkedIn, I raised, $50 million. That's not, raising money is not a medal. Raising money means taking loan.
Yeah. Taking
a loan is not a medal. It's supposed to be. That's why when we raised money, I've never came and said, we raised X. Why?
Yeah.
I took a loan. Who would advertise taking a loan? Yes, I've gathered 1 million more customers that are giving me money. Yes, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not proud of taking a loan. I think
fantastic advice. I think to wrap up this discussion, great advice to entrepreneurs at the end. Leave your ego at home if you're thinking of building a business. I love that. Thank you very much, Eli. It was
Loulou.
amazing. Thank you for your
time. Good luck
time.
on your podcast.
Thank you. Thanks. I'd love to